expect for arriving in Korea, what to prepare, and other things you can get ready for. Okay, so let's jump in. We're going to run through this as always a little bit fast because we want to leave as much time as possible for that Q&A session at the end. We got a lot of great questions already, so we're going to answer those and then take live questions as well. All right, so let's jump in. A little bit about me. You guys might be wondering, why is he saying this? You'll see. So I'm 26 years old, was raised in the United States. I was actually a GEPIK teacher for 2 years previously in Bucheon at an elementary school. And before coming to Korea, I had no prior knowledge of Korean culture. I had no prior knowledge of the Korean language. I had no prior teaching experience. So I think I'm in the boat as a lot of you guys might be in, the same boat that you guys might be in. I know you guys are worried if you don't know, if you can't speak Korean or you don't have that much teaching experience. Trust me, I know exactly what it's feeling like right now. And so my goal today is to teach you and inform you how to become epic at GEPIK right from the start, so you can hit the ground running. All right. So first, we got to talk about culture shock. Culture shock is when you are shocked by culture. Culture shock is when you go to a place with a different kind of culture and you are very surprised, or it's a little bit hard to adjust to something that's so different from your own culture. So there's things we got to talk about. We got to be honest. We want to prepare you as much as we can. We don't want to just give you all the positives and make it seem like this is like the perfect place on earth. No place is perfect. So remember, you're going to be traveling to a different country. That is going to mean, number one, certain items aren't going to be available that you're used to back home. I was really bummed out about ranch dressing not being available. So I would search around stores. I swear I went through every single department store, mart, convenience store, couldn't find ranch dressing anywhere. So I was a little disappointed by that. So be prepared. Some items you have grown up using or eating your entire life may all of a sudden not be available, and that can, sometimes lead to homesickness. So just be prepared for that. Also, it's a culture that's grown up simultaneously for thousands of years in a completely different area of the earth. So customs are a lot different. Culture is a lot different. So some things you might think are global principles are actually sometimes only Western principles. For example, one of my friends, he just started teaching with the GEPIK program, and he got into, the day came and he got into an argument with his co-teacher, and she started raising her voice at him. And he stopped her and he said, "Look," he's like, "we're both adults here. Talk to me like an adult." And, we would think, growing up back in the United States or Canada or Great Britain or Australia or wherever, we would think, yeah, that's a fair assumption. But actually in Korea, that's not. An older person has the right, has the right to talk down to you, someone that's a lower position and a younger age. So just, remember, you gotta, I know in the first webinar we had for you guys, we talked about, real stuff about opening up your mind. How open are you actually? So just remember that some things are going to shock you, and you got to be ready for that. And don't accept it personally. Just accept it as, oh, okay, I'm not used to that from back home. I'll learn for next time. Okay. Also, be prepared for higher costs in some areas. I know a lot of people say, what's more expensive, what's less expensive. Generally, Korean food is pretty non-expensive. You can a lot of times get meals, full-on meals with soups, rice, your meat and salads and stuff like that for like 6,000 won, which is about $6 US. But Western food, since a lot of those ingredients are being imported, it's a lot more expensive. For instance, sriracha, I think I said that right. I've never known how to say it. I just called it red rooster sauce. It was a really good hot sauce that I liked from back home, and I brought some of it, and I ran out. And I went to go look for it at the market, and I found it. But it was $12 as compared to $3 back home. Also, Britas, which I will talk about again later in this webinar, I found them as well, and they're $50. So be prepared for higher costs on some things. Also, the last thing to be prepared for is limited options or sizes of things. So, for example, if you're a really, really tall or a bigger person, you might have problems finding clothes or finding shoes. Also, another thing to think about is Sheets. Beds are actually different sizes in Korea. They go by different sizing measurements, I guess that is the best way to say it. So, you know, we'll talk more about sheets later, but just be aware that things that you're used to being a lot of options back home, colors, sizes, yada, 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 that may not be the same over here, okay? So one thing you can do that really helps out, the best way to negate culture shock is to learn the native language, to learn the language. And so my advice, my strongest piece of advice, if you have to walk away from this entire webinar and only pick up one thing, it's learn Korean now. My boss used to always lecture me and he used to say, you know, Stephen, a baby doesn't learn to speak because it wants to. It learns to speak because it has to in order to survive. So think, you know, if you came here and you couldn't read any Korean, maybe you couldn't speak any single words, how are you gonna know what kind of store is in front of you? If you go into a restaurant, you figure out it's a restaurant. If it doesn't have pictures, how are you gonna know what to order? So learning the language, I think, beyond being extremely beneficial and useful is actually also, it's showing respect for the culture. Imagine in your home country if someone from a different country, let's just say it was, you know, I don't want to take out any certain country, France came over to your country and they were just speaking French. You said, oh, could you, and they were asking a question and you want them, you said, oh, can you speak English? And they said, no, I don't like English. I won't learn English. You know, you'd be kind of offended that they didn't even put in the effort to try. So it's useful and it's showing respect for the culture. Remember, you're a guest in this country, so it's best to respect as many things as possible. Also, it's going to be hard for you to set up services, and it's going to force you to rely on others if you can't speak any Korean. And I don't know about you, but I hate relying on others because they're not always available, and also sometimes they're not able to get, you know, the point across as well as you'd like them to. So at the very, very least, memorize and learn the Korean alphabet. It's only about 35 characters, and that's it. And I know you might be thinking, 35 characters, that's a lot. Some people, I've heard learning them all in one afternoon. It took me a couple days, but it's really easy because the Korean alphabet is phonetic. And once you learn what characters make what sounds, it's really easy to construct characters and spell out words. You'll honestly be able to read in a week's time if you'd spent at least a couple days with it. So really easy, highly recommend it. So you might be wondering, where can I you know, get some tutorials or get some lessons on this? TalkToMeInKorean.com, great resource. They just partnered with Eat Your Kimchi to open up their own cafe in Seoul. It's opened up here about a week and a half ago. So it's a really great resource. They have video lessons, audio lessons, worksheets. They have things about dramas, dissecting Korean and K-pop. Really, really cool, great place. And it's completely free. And plus the director of it, Hyun-woo-sun, is like a genius. He can speak like 6 different languages fluently or something. So definitely check out TalkToMeInKorean.com. So we're going to move into the next portion. And let's talk about what to pack. I'm sure you guys probably right now as you're listening to this, or maybe even packing your suitcase and unpacking it because you can't decide what to finalize to leave in there. So hopefully we can give you some pointers on this. First, go out to your local Target, Walmart, or other big, what's that called? Not called a department store, big mart, I guess. And look for these space bags. They allow you to compress a great deal of cotton-based or linen-based things that have that are very airy, and it allows you to shrink it down into like a little pack and then vacuum seal it. Keeps it clean, keeps it protected because the bags are pretty thick, and it maximizes space. So that way you only have to worry about weight and not space. It allows you to pack a lot more stuff in, okay? So what to pack? As far as hygiene goes, my basic rule is bring one regular sizing of every toiletry you use daily. I know you guys are maybe thinking about going out and getting a little travel size, but trust me, bring one regular sizing. You know, shampoo, body wash, toothpaste, etc. They have all these things in Korea. You can get them for sure. Koreans take showers too, you know. But the thing is, you might not be able to get out to a store in your first day that you arrive, second day, third day, could even be a week before you're finally able to get a good shopping trip in, because you're going to be so busy, jet lag. So in order to avoid, lessen the effects of homesickness and jet lag and feeling crappy, bring the stuff you're used to that you're used to using every day and bring enough of it to last for a while until you can finally get out to that store. So if you bring one regular sizing, I think you can last a couple weeks, maybe a month. So I highly recommend it. General recommendations as far as hygiene: deodorant. Bring lots of it. They don't sell it here. If you do find it, it's only going to be in Seoul, and it's going to be really, really expensive. By the way, it's raining really, really hard. So if you guys hear like pitter patter, that's because it's the rain on our windows. Number 2, toothpaste. They do have toothpaste here. It does have fluoride, contrary to belief, popular belief that it doesn't. But if you like that excessive fluoride burn where your gums feel like they're on fire, which I really like, bring toothpaste from home. Sheet set, bring a full double size fitted sheet set. You don't know what bed. You might get a twin size bed. When I say twin, that's what the kind of the equivalent to back home, but it is a little bit different. Bring a full double size because you can, with some effort, make that work around a twin size bed, and the full double size will work on their version of a full double as well. It's better to go a little bit bigger than too small, right? So bring that. One reason, some people say, that's too much. That's a sheet set's gonna be really heavy, or it's gonna be a lot of space. Use the space bags, but also the reason I say to bring a brand new set is because a lot of you guys will probably be taking over for another teacher, and they've probably slept in that for a year or even more. And do you really trust that you want to sleep in someone else's sheets that you don't know how often they wash them? Yeah, no thanks, right? So bring a sheet set, definitely. Also towels. Korean towels are really, really small, size of washcloths. So if you like to towel off every part of your body and still have some dry spots to spare, bring a towel or two from home. Also bring cold medicine or pain reducers. Korea kind of uses, they're really into herbal remedies and ancient Chinese remedies, ancient Koreans remedies as well. So Tylenol, Advil, things that you use when you're not feeling too well, bring that. It's okay. Okay. And finally, we're going to talk about electrical plug adapters. And this has its own slide, I believe. Yes, it does. So on your computer, if you're looking at your computer right now, if you probably look to the side where it's plugged into, it's probably plugged into one of these guys. They're called an AC adapter. And what it is it's a little box with 2 plugs going each way. One plug goes into your electronic device. The other plug goes into the wall. So what the great thing is, that little black box is actually a converter of its own. It'll convert 120 to a 240 or 240 to 120 the voltage. And that is great because that means you can bring that to Korea and it'll work no problem. All you have to get is that cable on the left side. You just have to replace it with one that fits into Korean plugs, which you can buy, and they're really, really cheap, like $3 or so at most stores. So you just plug that in and you're good to go. It does all the converting for you. You don't have to worry about stuff blowing up. So for electronics in Korea, you have 3 options. Option 1 is, yes, the AC adapter core that we just talked about. Another one is if you have something that has the converter built into it. I think PlayStations or Xboxes do. I'm not sure. No, Xboxes has the big bricks. PlayStations might. Things that convert internally, you just need a plug adapter. So just something to fit the male side of your plug back home into the male side of Korean plug. Those are really, really cheap, like $1 each. And then finally, the last option is a wattage converter. These are things for electronic toothbrushes, shavers, small electronics that it would be kind of ridiculous if they had their own huge power source. They're usually in only 1 wattage or voltage. So you have to get a converter to convert it upward or downward, okay? So since Korea goes off of 220, I believe, and the United States and the West goes off of 120, I believe. I'm not sure on that. You're going to need one of these ones. These things are pretty expensive, maybe around $40 to $50, and they sometimes are faulty, which is really dangerous because things can catch on fire. So be very careful. Don't get a cheap one on that. Make sure you get one that looks good, okay? So let's move on to wear this not that. This is a guide on what clothes to bring uh, to Korea. I'm sure you guys are wondering what you should wear in the classroom, outside the classroom. So we're going to go over that right now. First, for girls, blouse, skirt. That's really pretty much it. You can wear a dress if you'd like. Really, it's similar to what you imagine elementary school teachers wearing back home. They usually wear blouses. They usually wear skirts. The one thing we have to talk about, though, is cleavage is a no-no in Korea. Seriously, it's against their Confucian principles. So don't wear anything that shows cleavage because it's actually considered offensive, okay? Also, jeans aren't preferred for girls, but they are tolerated. It depends on your school, it depends on your principal and what their, their mindset is. And for shoes, you don't have to worry. You're going to wear Korean indoor slippers, which I'm going to talk about later. And you can buy those at the stores here for like $10. What happens is, actually, I'll save that until I can show you the picture because it'll be a lot more clear. So, school clothes for men. This one, a little bit, I guess, more freedom in that, just go with something that looks like what a college professor back home would wear. So, maybe a sweater, a nice formal looking sweater, a blazer if you so choose so, and a tie. Short sleeve dress shirts are okay, but we do not recommend short sleeve t-shirts. It's too casual, okay? During the summer, it might be okay because it gets really hot, but try to always go for just a little bit more of a professional looking look. Shorts aren't allowed ever. You can never wear it. That's a big frustration that a lot of people run into here. Quarter lengths or capris, if you know them as that. That's a gray area. It depends on the school, like the jeans for girls. Jeans are tolerated for men. Dress shirts are going to be, honestly, your best friend. And my numbers, as I'm looking at this, my numbers are all messed up on the side. Sorry about that. Dress shirts are your friend. If you don't have any, go to H&M. They're like 10, 12 bucks. Go get a ton, okay? And this goes for both men and women. Wear your most professional attire on day one. That's for first impression. You want to look your best because you're going to be meeting your vice principal, principals, Hagwon directors. So you want to wear your best on day one, okay? And you're also going to be required to wear indoor slippers. And on the right, I actually have a picture of them. Those little striped ones that look like a zebra pattern. Those are the indoor slippers. You can buy them at pretty much any store here. They're about $8 to $10. And what you do is, since Koreans use like hard floors, they don't use carpeting or anything like that. They have the kids take off their shoes when they enter the school, and they go to their locker and they slip on these shoes so that it doesn't track in the outdoor dirt and all that stuff. So don't worry about that. I don't think you guys are going to be able to buy these back home, so just wait till you get to Korea. You'll be able to do it on the first day or second day. Okay? So my personal recommendation is to wrap up this whole bringing thing. Personally, this isn't what Korvia recommends, GEPIK or Hagwons, or not necessarily popular opinion. But what I recommend, what worked out really well for me, is bring a Brita pitcher with extra filters. Koreans don't even drink the tap water here. They usually use some sort of filtration unit, some electronic filtration unit. Bring a Brita. That way you can drink clean, healthy, no worry-free water from the moment you arrive. And bring a little bit, some extra filters as well, because they are pretty expensive. Also bring your favorite seasonings: garlic, salt, paprika, red pepper flakes, stuff you used to cook from back home, because a lot of times Koreans use their own kind of set of spices, and these things aren't that common, and if you can't find them, they're really expensive. Also, sauces, dressings, if you're going to do a lot of cooking again: ranch, sriracha, barbecue sauce, just something to make your food taste more like back home, I guess. If you're not that experienced with cooking on a stovetop, remember, they don't use ovens here. They use stovetop. Bring a meat thermometer, because I had to bring one because I didn't know if I would kill myself, cooking chicken on the stove so much. And if you do find a thermometer here, it probably is only going to be in Celsius. So if you're not able to read that and translate it as quickly, bring a Fahrenheit thermometer from back home. Also bring measuring cups, because measurements are different a little bit here too. Like I said before, comforter and a new pack of sheets, full double size. Use the space bags to compress those. And the last one, gifts. We used to have, I swear we could have an entire webinar just on gifts, because people are so curious about this aspect. But this really shouldn't be something you stress over. Just remember, bring it for the important people at your school: principal, vice principal, co-teacher, your Hagwon or academy director. We have our own slide for this too. So gift ideas, generally, don't worry. People say a whole bunch of different things. I say just, if you have some unique chocolates, seize candy from, at the airport, or if you have some unique chocolate from where you're from, bring that. Chocolate's a pretty universally given gift. Ornaments for decoration, that's always good and pretty safe. A unique food item from your city, state, region, province, or country. So if you're from Canada and you're really proud of maple syrup, bring some maple syrup. Why not? If you're from Great Britain, bring some tea. Also, health items. Koreans are really into health products. So if you can bring some vitamins or some supplements from back home, that's always good. They do have Centrum vitamins here and things like that, but back in the States, they're a lot stronger. They give you more vitamins or something like that. So that's why it's kind of cool for the Koreans to get health gifts from back home. Also, you can bring stationery. Stationery would be something like a paperweight, something for inside the school or their desk. Actually, I didn't have this on here before a couple of days ago. We just met the arriving GEPIK Fall 2014 people, and one girl showed me her gift, and she brought a paperweight. It was a really cool looking paperweight, and your goal is not to change this person's life with a gift. It's just something to show goodwill. So with that said, a little 101 on gifting is just remember, if you're in a place with a hierarchy, principal's gift should have a perceived value that's greater than the vice principal's perceived values of their gift, and the vice principal's gift should have a higher perceived value than the co-teacher's gift, and so on, so on. Okay, same thing for if your Hagwon has two directors or something like that, a main director and a co-director. And lastly, I recommend for day one. Some people will say this whole thing about it's after your first paycheck. That's the traditional time. I've never seen that done. I've never heard of that, to be honest, for the couple years I've been here. I say go for day one. You're already dressed in your best. You might as well give a nice gift, and I think they'll have positive feelings about you from the start. Okay. So let's talk about next what will happen at the airport. You guys are going to be going from your airport right to your apartment or maybe to your school. So Incheon Airport, really great. Everything's in English as well as Korean, so you guys shouldn't have a problem navigating. So let's say your name's Adam and you're from the United States. And you fly over, you arrive in Incheon, go through immigration really quick, grab your bags. Then when you come out to the terminal, look for someone with your name and a Korvia sign, and that person is going to be your driver. This is a service that we only at Korvia that we have someone there just to pick you up and deliver you to your school, so you don't have to worry about navigating or finding the right bus. So it's a really great way to help assimilate in. So look for your driver, and then they're going to help you with your bags. They're going to take you to your combination to meet your new co-teacher or your Academy Hagwon staff member, and they're going to settle you into your apartment. And then finally, the first day of school should be around September 1st, which is coincidentally on a Monday. So it'll be really, really soon. I think we're on the 21st, so that's only in about 10 days or so. So look forward to it. Yeah. So now we got to talk about arrival documents checklist. I know you guys are like, oh, what more documents? We just sent in all these documents. Just a couple more, promise. Residency certificate. That's for public school people only. Bring that. By doing so, you're not going to have to pay income tax for a full 2 years if it's so be, and that's a nice chunk of change to save. That's only for public school. That was only a treaty worked out with the Ministry of Education, so it's not available for Hagwon people. Original TEFL certificate. I see that I made a mistake for this. It should say public school only. If you're at a Hagwon, you have a TEFL certificate, bring that too, because you might transfer, or you might want to look for another job that would require it, so bring it too. But for public schools, definitely bring your original TEFL certificate, because they need to check, and they're going to make a photocopy of their own. Okay. Also, bring 3 to 5 passport-sized photos. You're going to need one for your medical checkup, getting your ARC card, which is pretty much your ID card that makes everything possible here, and other applications. Okay. So bring 3 to 5. ePassportphoto.com. Great way to do it for cheap. And number 4, bring about $1,000 US in cash, credit, or debit. And this is for both Hagwon or public school. The reason why you won't be paid your salary or any reimbursement until about a month after starting, because remember, without your ARC card, you cannot even open up a bank account, a Korean bank account. So they have no way of depositing you money, and they won't give you, a big envelope of cash. So you need money to survive until then. So about $1,000 US. And some people say, do I need to get that all in cash? Or should I just leave on my card? You can do a mixture of both. Cash is going to be acceptable, and you can exchange that at the airport for decent rates. If you have a credit card, usually most credit cards are international, and you can use that. Or debit card. Debit cards you won't be able to use them in stores, but at global ATMs, which aren't that necessarily common, but they do have them in most banks, at least one in high populated areas. You can use that and you can withdraw money, and of course they'll be hit with a transaction fee, but it's really not that much. A lot of people worry a lot about getting the best rates, but it's not worth the stress, to be honest. You can split this up: $500 in cash, $500 leave on your card in case you don't feel comfortable, walking around with that much money. That's what I did. To be honest, I didn't care, and I just kept it all on my debit card and would withdraw about $100 at a time when I needed it, and that was perfectly fine. And the last thing to bring is an introductory PowerPoint presentation. This is for public school people only. Most likely your first day, sometimes even your entire first week, you're just going to be giving presentations to your students about who you are. So make a PowerPoint with lots of pictures showing off where you're from, your hobbies, your family. Lots of pictures, key, and keep it simple. Remember, they're just children. Like, don't give them an essay on why you chose to major in criminal justice. Just show where you're from. They'll be blown away by it. Okay? And just some general teaching curriculum details. I'm sure you guys are doing a lot of research online right now, but here's just some key things about the differentiation between Hagwons and public schools. Public schools, as far as teaching goes, you're generally going to use a textbook as your guide, and you're going to create your own lesson plans. You may do this with your co-teacher or on your own. A lot of co-teachers will ask you to create games or activities to go along with the lesson, and you can do that on waygook.org. Find games people have already created or get ideas for games, new games to make. Public schools also have larger class sizes, about 30 students. Sometimes it can go up to 40. Sometimes it can be as low as 20. Depends on the school. And on the side, sometimes at public schools, they're going to have you create testing materials for their classes, and also maybe have you do some extracurricular events like sports day or talent shows, have you organize some of those things. Sometimes they'll actually have you teach after-school classes too. So for Hagwons, or private institutes, academies, all same name, a specific curriculum will actually be provided for you, so you don't have to worry about finding all these games and things like that. That's great because it allows you to know exactly what to teach. You don't have to worry as much. Hagwons also have smaller class sizes, 8 to 12 students, sometimes lower than that, but rarely higher than that, because parents really prefer their students to have smaller class sizes. And on the side, you'll probably make and create progress reports for students, just to let the parents know how the student is doing. Okay? General other reminders for arriving: don't take any medication before your medical checkup. In doing so can mess with the results, and you don't want that, because if something goes wrong and you're not able to say why or prove why, they'll send you back. So make sure not to take any medication before your medical checkup. They also might ask you not to eat anything before. You can drink water, but just if they request it, if your co-teacher has experience, don't eat anything before, okay? Also, they're going to check for drugs, they're going to check for other health conditions, and they're also going to check for HIV. And I know that's considered offensive back home, but here it's just a precaution they take, okay? So don't get too worked up about it. It's just something you have to go through. For teachers already in Korea, obtain your employment verification letter from your school. It verifies that you worked at that school and the dates you did so from. You might have to wait until you actually finish your contract and go back and obtain it, but make sure to get that sooner rather than later, okay? Because when you transfer to a new job, you're going to need it. The GEPIK workshop or orientation will be sometime in March of 2015, actually, maybe March or April. They only happen once a year, and since you guys are arriving in the fall, it already happened this year, so it won't happen until next semester. For Hagwon or private school orientations, they generally don't have workshops orientation, but there usually are other native English speakers at the Hagwon to help you show you the protocol and how everything works, which is really great and helpful. So we're almost finished before our big Q&A. I just want to talk to you guys lastly about something called the make or break period. I nicknamed it the expat limbo. Expat limbo is the time between when you start working at your school and you're in Korea and when you receive your ARC card, which is about 3 to 4 weeks. The reason it's limbo is because you don't have an ID, so you cannot sign up for internet. You can't sign up for a bank account. You can't sign up for a cell phone. Korvians are the exception. We'll tell you that in a second. You can't sign up for TV. You can't sign up for any service. You can't speak Korean, and you can't understand Korean. And you feel like you can't do anything. You feel powerless, helpless. This is the ultimate test for teachers. This is the time when a lot of people feel homesick, and I'm not going to lie. In the past, not necessarily with Korvia, but just from what I've heard, is some teachers run away. They just can't take it, and they go back home. So in those 3-4 weeks, that's a long time, you might think, but instead, listen to this. If you were to spend those 3 weeks learning Korean, learning phrases, practicing it on people you see on the street or in the convenience store, or also cleaning up and setting up your perfect apartment. One side note I forgot to mention about your apartment is most likely, I just want to be honest, it's not going to be in the condition you expect it to. If there's a teacher before you and you're taking over for them, actually the tenant of the apartment tenant is not that person. The apartment tenant is the school. And since that tenant is never actually changing, it's just another teacher coming in, the building is not hiring a cleaning service to come. And that's very rare actually for a school to hire a cleaning service. You'd have to do that on your own. So most likely it's not going to be in the condition you think it's going to be in. I'm not saying it's going to be dirty, but it's just not probably what you're expecting. So you're going to spend a lot of time cleaning that and setting it up the way you want. So if you were to spend your time learning Korean, cleaning and setting up the ultimate perfect apartment, and exploring your city, I promise those 3 weeks will go by really fast, okay? And then once you get your card and you're able to sign up for all those services, you're going to feel like a true Korean citizen and be really, really happy, okay? So remember, learn Korean, clean up your apartment, and explore your city. And then when you through your art card, you can get a bank account, sign up for internet, or also sign up for a smartphone or a new cell phone if you'd like. And remember, the Fall 2014 Korvia Party is going to be happening where it's going to allow all of us to get together and finally meet and see your recruiter in person. It's going to be great. All Korvia teachers are going to get a voucher for a free drink. It's a great way to meet people from other programs, other Hagwons, EPIK, GEPIK, all those other things that we recruit for. It's also going to give you a chance to win free stuff. We always give out Team Money cards, CGV movie tickets, and a lot more. And while we don't have all the details now, we will have them soon. Just keep September 27th, I believe, right, in your head. And lastly, how can you help us? We really care about you guys. We want to make sure you guys have the smoothest assimilation, and that's why we have, we teamed up with Say Kimchi to provide prepaid phones and the van shuttle pickup service, webinars, all these things like this. So how can you help us? We want you to get involved. Actually, the only reason I'm working at Korvia, it's a funny story, is that when I arrived with GEPIK, I was in that expat limbo and I was really kind of depressed. And my recruiter called me and she said, "Hey, Steven, would you like to, we're kind of shy. Can you MC at the Korvia party?" And I thought, you know what, new country, when in Rome. I said, why not? I don't even like public speaking, but I volunteered. And I became really good friends with people at Korvia, and I've gone to do a lot of cool stuff with them. And now, hey, look, I work for them. So give us your things you can help us out with. Give us feedback on your experience with us. Also, really important, you can do this now if you want, or you can do it later. We don't mind as long as you just do it. Leave us a testimonial on the Korvia official Facebook fan page. Really helps us out, lets people see that there are other live people that actually went through us. It really helps us out, and we really appreciate it. And it gets you, you get to finally say some words of gratitude to your recruiter. Also, do you have a topic that you think would benefit others? If you're from South Africa and you say, hey, people really don't address how to get this residency certificate in South Africa, submit a wiki at Korvia.com. We have a wiki that we're trying to build our community so that people don't have to search all around the internet and Waygook for these things, and they can get the exact information they want. So yeah, we have a wiki. Submit it to your recruiter or go to the Korvia.com and you can figure out instructions how to submit it there. Also, help out others on the Korvia GEPIK Facebook page. The GEPIK is actually for people at Hagwons or other institutes as well. It's our big main group, but we just left it as GEPIK because we can't change the name. But if they have a question that you don't answer to, help them out. You know, we want to get those boards hustling and bustling with people and make it a great community for you guys. Also, volunteer to help out at our next party. You know, we're always looking for volunteers to help us out, work some booths, or, you know, if maybe give a speech or something like that, or you want to talk on something that you thought was funny. We're always looking for volunteers, and you can contact your recruiter and say, hey, I want to get involved as soon as I get to Korea. You know, I don't just want to teach. I want to make the most out of this experience. Yeah, definitely go ahead, and we can get you started on that. And also, last thing, spread the word to friends. If you're at, you know, a TEFL Institute and you're going through with other people that were maybe interested in teaching abroad, tell them about Korvia. Tell them, you know, we can help them find positions as well if they are interested in coming to South Korea. Organizations, if they're looking for people to partner with, yeah, definitely just spread the word about Korvia. This all helps us out and it allows us, honestly, to offer even more things to you guys and offer a better service. So yeah, we want you to get involved. So I think I went longer than I should have, but I hope you guys feel a lot more prepared. Now it's time for a Q&A time. We have some questions. I don't know if we're going to go through all of them because I remember we got about 10, Ashley. So I'll try to answer them quickly. But we definitely want to hear from you guys, so you guys can write in your question in the question box, or if you really are too lazy to type and you just want to speak it, you can raise your hand and we will unmute your mic so you can ask it to us. So let me just run through the basic ones first. I have them written out. Question 1, when we arrive, should we be dressed in business attire or is casual okay? You know what, you don't have to come in a suit on the plane. You can wear whatever you want on the plane just when you get out, since you're going to be taken to meet your staff. Maybe just at the airport right before you hop on that shuttle, just change into something that's, you know, not shorts and like a deep V tank top or something like that, okay? So you don't have to worry too much, but just try to look a little presentable when you get to your apartment. Question 2, do we have to take off our shoes before we enter every building or just certain buildings? For example, Lotte, Home Plus, museums, banks. Only for schools, actually. Only schools have this rule about you taking off your shoes. Lotte, these department stores, yeah, you can leave your shoes on. They prefer it. Question 3, when should we present gifts? During our first meeting, first day of work? That is a very good question. If you're going to be, you know you're going to be meeting your co-teacher or someone at the first, the day you arrive, present it to them then. That's always a good way to always, like I said, do that great first impression effect. First day of work is okay too, but I would say if you're looking for an answer, first meeting. Question 4, should we exchange US dollars for Korean won before we depart or wait until we arrive in Korea? Wait until you arrive in Korea. If you order them within the United States, Canada, or wherever, I think you guys have to pay for that, and it's just not worth it. Don't worry too much. There's thousands of foreigners coming in. They have all these currency booths at the airport ready for you guys. It's really easy. Question 5, how much cash should we exchange initially? 50,000, 100,000, 1 million? I recommend none of those numbers. I would probably say if you didn't want to pull all of it out, probably about 200,000, 250,000. If you just don't want to worry about it, 500,000 cash, leave the other 500,000 on your debit card and pull it later. I know you guys are really worried about losing all that money, and I would be too. So that's why I recommend actually don't pulling it all out in cash. Just put it on your card and take some out. So I'll say about 250,000 initially, 200,000, 1/4 quarter. Question 6, who do we approach if there's a problem with the apartment? Shower does not work, hot water does not work, etc. Co-teacher or the person at your institute that is your liaison at your institute, because they are actually the tenant and they're able to contact the owners and talk about all that stuff. Generally though, if something breaks, I just want to let you know, if something breaks during your time there, you're liable for it, okay? If something, you arrive and just straight up there's no water, then of course you're not liable for that. So speak with your liaison at your institute or your school, and they should be able to put in a request or help you out. Question 7, are we allowed to hang pictures, posters, etc. on the walls of apartments? Great question. Back home, you know, all our walls are kind of why do I want to say plywood? Drywall, and so you can put nails easily through and hang stuff. Actually, in Korea, they're solid. You could not get a nail through that thing unless you had a heavy duty drill. So what they do is they actually, at the local stores, they have these sticky things that are like mega sticky, and they have little hooks so you can hang those things, and even hang like little bars on the wall, on the walls and stuff like that. But yeah, if you put like big, if you want to install like a huge like flat screen TV, and you have to drill in big holes, you probably might be liable for that. So just keep that in mind later. Question 8, if I'm picked up by taxi at the airport, how do I know how to get from my apartment to the school? If you're going to take a taxi, you just have to know your address, and they will have a GPS that they can input to. But if you're with Korvia, we're going to arrange a shuttle that's going to do it for free. Why pay? Yeah, and we're going to give them the address beforehand. You don't have to worry about that, and they're going to know exactly where to go. Okay? Question 9. Whew. Oh, man. 2 more. Is there a number we can call either through Korvia or elsewhere if we're in a difficult situation, lost, in need of emergency translation? I know there is a service. I will post it in Korvia GEPIK. I promise I will post it later. It's called Angel something. I can't for the life of me remember it right now. They do translation. If you locked your keys in your house or something like that, they do. But Ashley, Ashley's over here listening the whole time, nodding her head. Ashley, what do you think they should do if they need emergency translation?
We'll give you the number for the service, but there is a contact that you can ask help, and they will translate all your needs in Korean. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so you heard it from Ashley. Yeah, we do have those services, and we'll get you that information in a second. We'll post on Korvia GEPIK because it's very valuable. Yeah, but I've heard of those services, and they help people out. Yeah, if they're lost or anything like that. If you have a smartphone, bring it, because you can usually always latch on to some sort of Wi-Fi, and then you can use Google Maps works. You can use a mapping service, and so it's really difficult to get lost unless you're in a really, really rural area, because there's internet everywhere. You can take a picture of where you are on a map and someone can help you out. Okay, but also those maps are in Korean, so if you can learn how to read Korean, then you'll never get lost, I promise. And the last question that we had submitted previously: do you have any recommendations for good places to attend Korean language classes? I'm glad you asked that. Yes, there is. If you want to make the trek to Seoul, the Seoul Global Center has a program that they teach Korean. I don't know if it's one time or twice a week. It is free, except they require a deposit, and you get that deposit back if you attend a certain amount of classes. That's how they keep you coming, because a lot of people, they sign up, and then there's one person, by the end of the semester. So they want to keep people coming as much as possible. But also, if you're outside of Seoul, a lot of times city halls or local district offices, they'll sponsor classes for free to learn Korean language. It's not just for English teachers. There's a lot of other immigrants here too that are working at different kinds of jobs, and so they want to teach them Korean as well. So yeah, just look on your local Facebook boards for the city you're in. If you live in Bucheon, there's probably a Bucheon teachers Facebook group. Just inquire, and someone usually will always be able to point you in the right direction.